Welcome everybody to SESAM and to our speedy workshop session, Name, Claim, Aim. I just named our event and I'm Roxanne Gardner. I will be the event manager, leader for this session. And faculty colleagues, if I could have all your help, is that okay?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Great. My colleagues have already have their roles assigned for this session so that we can aim to engage and introduce you to these concepts. Our faculty, as you can see, are quite plentiful, and they hail from Canada, Spain, Italy, Switzerland, and of course the US. We are not able to do small breakout sessions as we had hoped in your preferred language. But we can certainly accommodate your languages if you prefer to write something in the chat or speak something in Spanish or French. Because of the fact that we have a lot more people than we expected, we would like you to mute yourself and then just unmute when you're ready to talk. That would be really great and minimize some of the background noise. Next. Our disclosures are none. There's no relevant financial conflicts that we have. Our objectives are as you can read. This is a short session, so we will be able to give you a tasting or an amuse-bouche of the name, claim, aim that we so fondly refer to as the ABC of teamwork and how it connects to the principles of crisis resource management. So now I'll turn it over to my colleague, Jenny Rudolph.
Next slide, please, Fernando. Hi, everybody. And one more click, Fernando, if you don't mind. Folks, we just wanted to invite all of us to assume the best of each other. We're likely to make a mistake or two as faculty here, and we hope you'll assume that we're intelligent, capable, care about doing our best and want to improve. And we'll assume the same about you. And we think this is a wonderful underlying principle for name, claim, aim, or any team organization. Because if we assume the best of each other, we can get curious about what other people's motivations are and then work even more effectively with them. Fernando, next slide, please. We're seeking your engagement in the following way. We're all used to being on Zoom or interacting virtually, but we've tried our best to make this virtual simulation as engaging as possible. However, we know there are some delays. It's not perfect. The sound may be glitchy from time to time. One more click, Fernando. And so we just act as if ask that you would just act as if the problems are real that we're presenting to you and just try to solve them. We'll have some ways for you to interact with us, and we hope you'll just sort of use your brains to play around with the ideas we're introducing. Okay, Fernando, next slide. We also realize, this is a bit awkward. We're asking you to text, we're asking you to talk with us. You might act a little differently than you do in real life. That's fine. Please invite you to listen to each other as allies, see how you can support each other's thinking. And similarly, that works really well in name, claim, aim itself. And then we ask that you, after you leave here, you not comment too much on, not comment at all on other participants' performance outside the workshop, just so that people can try their best. Next slide, Fernando. So what we'd like to do today is just tell you a little bit about name, claim, aim, and my lovely colleague Rebecca Meinhardt's going to do that, but I want to tell you how we got here. So for about 20 years at the Center for Medical Simulation, we worked with David Gaba's concepts of crisis resource management, and we tried really hard to help people get better at running their teams. And so many of these principles that you see in the circle on the left are so important and keep coming out in quality and safety reviews that we ourselves do at our various hospitals, many that you have perhaps seen, and they are incredibly important to managing crises. But they're too hard to remember as a person managing a crisis. So then we tried to distill them down to just 5 roles or 5 key principles. And we still found that under cognitive load and time pressure, people just couldn't reproduce them, and our teams weren't getting any better at managing crises. So we finally got sick of that and decided we have to come up with something that a small, time pressured, stressed brain could retain. And so colleagues at our team tried to kind of get it down to name, claim, aim. And we draw on work from many of you who were on this workshop. I noticed Michaela Colby's here and others. Your wonderful teamwork research has influenced our direction. So Rebecca, if you want to take us to the next thing.
Absolutely. Fernando, do you mind moving next slide? Thank you. So this is the work, this is the result of that work. So again, we're committed to helping make this learning sticky. And so we've used educational science and best teamwork practices to build this mnemonic that not only incorporates the most important behaviors, but also is more easily remembered and therefore accessible. So you see this as a cycle. It starts with name, usually is what we think is best, then goes to claim and then goes to aim. But as you see, the arrows continue on in a loop. And so this can be done in waves, in cycles. There's renaming and re-aiming in case the direction of the crisis changes or something new pops up. And so this is what I'll sort of break this down a little bit more in the next slides, just to give you some practical examples of how we do this in real life. So Fernando, next please. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to walk you through this. So this is where you're in it. We'll just say it's a clinical situation and things are going okay, and then they're not. So next, Fernando. And then suddenly it's an oh no moment. When you recognize that and you're calling for help, the first thing we ask you to do is to name. So can you go next, Fernando? Name out loud and next again to give the language. So sometimes when things happen, you know exactly, or you think you know exactly what's happening. And so you can just say what the signs and symptoms are and then your working diagnosis. Sometimes you really don't have any idea. This happens a lot. I'm an anesthesiologist. Sometimes I see hypotension and fast heart rate, and I just don't know why yet. So I might say, team, we have a problem. The patient has low blood pressure, fast heart rate. I'm not sure why yet. It could be one of these three things, but we need to figure it out. So that's might be a name. It could also be team, we have low blood pressure and high heart rate and large blood loss. I think we have a hemorrhage situation that we need to fix. So there are different ways you could name this. Okay, so the next what we think is important to do is to claim. And that only comes after name because when people start claiming roles without knowing what they're treating, it gets very confusing for the team. So claiming roles, the first and we think the most important role to claim is what Roxanne did earlier when she said, I will be the event manager, the leader of this workshop. So somebody stepping back and understanding what the whole picture is. We call that an event manager at CMS. You might call it a leader. This person needs to be inclusive, we think, as best practices, but this is the person who's probably doing a lot of the narrating and organizing of the team. And so the language we use is, I'll be the event manager or the leader. We need all ideas. I need your help. Is that okay? And the reason we put these three things in is, the first is that we think it's important to be explicit about who this person is. The second is we think it's important to, so that's the I will be. The second part is we need all ideas. So that's inviting people to share. And we think that is really important to be very explicit about. And the okay is there because then that allows for people to make a mini contract that they're agreeing to do this. Therefore, they're more likely to uphold that, more likely to recognize as a leader, more likely to come together as a team. The rest of the team roles then can be either assigned by the event manager, they could be taken up by really, proactive team members, and those can be fluid too. The next, and then if you go to the next, Fernando, that'd be great. Thank you. And then finally, what the goal is shared out loud. So the next three steps, the big overarching goal, this is the aim. And so this helps the team come together with an understanding, a better shared mental model of what are the next ways that we're going to be going. And so in this language, we say, these are the next three steps. This is just how I think, just sort of helping to prioritize the biggest things for the patient, and then asking, what other ideas do you have? Who else sees something that they think is important? If you go next, Fernando, and then there's, again, the cycle. So once you get out of the woods with hypotension, maybe then you have another problem. And then you can go back and do a rename and maybe some re-aims. Claiming can shuffle too. It's all okay. And so I see there's a chat. Oh, okay. What happens in Zoom stays in Zoom, yes. So with this, Fernando, if you go to the next slide. So the cool thing is about this is that when we started teaching this about 4 or 5 years ago, it really caught on. People liked the simplicity, I think. They liked the directness of it. And as you can see, we've now translated to and imported into many different places. So up the upper left is the US version, the upper right is from Spanish, and then in the bottom two are French Canadian and French, excuse me. And so it's really been great how these have been changed and imported. Okay, next slide, please, Fernando. To help the event manager, we also have a cognitive aid in which lists some various roles. So this has been included in our teaching thus far. Next, please. Okay, so now we're going to give you a little flavor of name, claim, aim. So you'll get a glimpse of this in action. And our facilitators are going to be demonstrating one cycle of name, claim, aim. It may not be perfect. We want to get your impression of it afterwards, but we're going to try this out so you have something to see in real life. So to set the scene, I'm going to tell you that we're all together and we have basic first aid training. We're going on a day hike in the mountains. And the team that's going on this day hike consists of Francine, Nacho, Clément, and Christian. Ahead of them is a woman hiking alone, and we're going to see what happens and how the team organizes. She's going to be voiced by Roxanne. This is the eReal platform, which is where we'll see the scene. So it looks like you see a ceiling and a floor. It appears like a room. There are 3 walls you can see. On the 2 side walls, you can see there are some cognitive aids for managing critical events. The name, claim, aim is represented in different forms there. So anything, Jenny, should I add anything else? Is that okay?
That sounds great, Rebecca.
Perfect. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and start, and I'll hand over to Francine.
Am I going to be okay? Ah! Oh my God, I'm hurt. Please help me. Is there someone that can help me? Oh. Oh. Ah! Oh my God, I'm in pain. Help me, please. I think I'm bleeding from my forehead. My foot's killing me.
Oh, hello, miss. We're a group of colleagues from the local hospital. We're going to help you. Please don't move. Just wait a little bit here.
Okay,
Okay, team.
it's very hard
Okay.
to not move. I'm in pain.
Yeah. Just stay there, and you'll be okay. Okay,
Yes.
team. I'm gonna name the situation. We have an injured woman with a head wound,
Yes.
a sprained or fractured ankle, and we are in a remote area.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm going to claim I can take charge, but I'm going to need your help and ideas for best management here. Is that okay
Perfect.
with you guys?
Sure, of
Yes,
course.
sir.
We'll help you.
Let's go.
Okay.
What do you want me to do?
So Nacho,
Yes.
can you contact the park ranger?
Okay, I'm gonna chat and I'm gonna text the rescue team.
Okay, Clément, can you attend to the patient?
Yes, I'm going to take care of her.
And Christian, what's your idea on what to do next?
Well, I think we have to be very careful, take her out of here. It's dangerous and we need to bring her to a hospital. So what I could do is create something to carry her away. What do you think?
Okay, that's a good idea. So the aim here is really to move her out of the trail safely and meet the park rangers on the way. Does anyone have any other ideas, or am I forgetting something?
That's fine. I'm calling to the rescue team. I'll let you know what happens, okay?
Okay.
And I'll be right back with the stretcher. Oh, here it is. Here's my stretcher.
Hello, miss.
Okay.
Is there any other
Okay.
thing that your forehead and ankle that's hurt you?
What, my forehead? My forehead
that?
hurts.
Okay.
I think I'm bleeding
From where?
from my head. It feels like blood is dripping down my head
Okay, I'll have a look at that.
and my ankle hurts.
Okay, I'll try to make something for you.
Oh, am I going to be
Okay.
okay?
Yeah, you're going to be okay. Have you any medical or health
So
history?
I got a message from the park ranger. They can be here in 2 hours. What do you think we should do?
Okay, so I think at this point we're gonna have to. I think that we're gonna have to change our aim here, and maybe we're gonna need to be to make a stretcher and to start, to be
Right.
able to carry her down. But first, I think we have
Yeah.
to immobilize the leg. What do you guys think?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's a good
Agree.
plan.
Well, we'll
All
need to
right,
play around.
everybody. This simulation is over. Thank you so much, team, for demonstrating this name, claim, aim. And participants, thank you so much for standing by. In our non-virtual world, we look forward to doing this workshop with you and having you take care of this patient. But in our virtual world, we chose to do this as a demonstration. So what I'd like to do now, participants from all over the world, if you would so kindly join me for a moment, maybe 2 minutes of discussion of your take on name, claim, aim applied to this hiking situation. So I'd just like to get your sense of what you think was working in that situation, what you think was not working so well using name, claim, aim, or any reflections or comments. So feel free to either talk to me directly, love to hear from you, or feel free to talk in the chat.
Maybe we should stop sharing the screen so we can see.
Oh, that'd be great.
faces?
Thanks. Great idea, Roxanne. Thanks for the cross monitoring. So folks, your comments, your reflections. Please feel free to come off mute and chat with us.
Can I
Don't
start?
Yeah, please.
So thank you so much. Wonderful experience, even with all the limitations that we have online. So just a comment and then reinforcing just how well this went, and what I've gained from here is that I'm going to start to apply this to my lectures and classes. So my general comment is I teach both pre-graduated and post-graduated, and especially to students, pre-graduated students. It's very overwhelming to them to have all the CRM points taken within a scenario. So I really enjoyed. I've already heard of your framework, but I really enjoyed to see it in practice, because this is going to be much easier for me to get all these CRM points as well, but in a very structured and simple way to them. So thank you for that. That was my comment. And
thank you, Carla.
Thank you, Jenny. So my comment that I take from here is that I really, the take-home message that I take from here is that I could really see various detailed CRM aspects within these three major dimensions per se. And for instance, when you claimed, I will change our aim when, well, the rescue were 2 hours away, I can see the dynamic prioritization of, the situation. You need to dynamically prioritize it, and to say that, and to reuse this framework by saying let's change our aim. I think it's very easy to see the parallels from the CRM points if you are used to work with it. And then
Carla, I'm going to rudely jump in here just because we have a relatively short time. I love your points, and maybe you can become our co-faculty because you're making all our main points here. Thank you so much. Just a few other comments, or if anybody's monitoring the chat.
We didn't plant her.
Yeah. Other comments, or does anybody want to share something from the chat that they're seeing?
I see Christopher Erickson wrote, the framework may make very explicit a process that easily becomes implicit and thus not as clear for all. A really nice and applicable model, and a really nice demonstration that showcased the framework.
Great. Other comments, questions?
Francisco said it was a very good collaboration, very rapid and focused model.
All right, folks. Well, thank you for your comments, and please feel free to share some more. As I mentioned when I gave the quick overview, there's a lot of research behind this very small process, including the claim. So I just wanted to highlight, am I missing anything? Please speak up. That draws on the research on leader inclusiveness behaviors, which are really important to getting people to speak up. And then the explicit, implicit focus, I had mentioned Michaela Colby's work earlier. She's done some really important work around how important being explicit under stress is to team performance, especially in the perioperative environment where many of us work. So Rox, I think we're ready to go ahead.
Yeah, I think you're ready to toss the baton.
Okay, and I'm tossing the baton to my lovely colleague Rebecca, I believe, to start us up on our opportunity for you all to try name, claim, aim using a video, and we'll have you text into the chat. Fernando, do you mind bringing that back up?
Okay, yay. So I'm so excited for this part. We're gonna give you a chance to practice like Jenny said. So what we'll be doing is we'll be viewing a scene, a video. I'll set up the scene, and then what we're gonna be doing is spending a little bit of time with you trying out yourself, trying to do best practices of name and then claim and then aim in the chat, and that'll be facilitated. So we're going to be watching a video. So Fernando, if you want to go ahead and pull up the video. This is, if you pause it for just a second, Fernando, so I can set it up. So we are security guards on our overtime work because why not? And we have our clinical backgrounds or non-clinical backgrounds. At least we have basic first aid. Okay, we're watching this video. It is dark, it is rainy, and something's going to happen, and then we'll have to take care of it. So why don't we go ahead and play the video? And there's no sound.
On purpose, there's no sound.
Yeah, it's just a video feed. Okay, Fernando, can you pause? Okay, great. Yes, so Roxanne, who am I handing off to? Remind me, who's doing name?
We are going to have Clément.
Yes, awesome.
So I'm going to guide you through name, and Christian and Francine are going to guide you through claim and aim after. And please use the chat box to make some try for your name. Feel free to text in French, English, or Spanish, and the team will help you. So what did you see? What happened? So if you have to describe the situation, group your team, and before assigning role, what will you name before claiming for the situation? So someone collapsed, there was a lighting, that's a question. So that's me an introduction. Other option, someone was shot, okay. Was it a shot or a lighting? That's an uncertainty that we can use as a first step in the name. At the beginning of a situation, we may not know what's happened, but we know that's unusual or uncertain, and there is a situation, so we can name the fact that there is a situation. So is it not moving now? So not moving now. Do we have a sense of an emergency? What do we want to share with the team? So someone has collapsed. Mm-hmm. Somebody needs for help. So we can say that something happened to the man, either a lighting, either a shot, that seemed urgent and is currently not moving. So, or is unconscious. So we can briefly name the situations. Hi team, we have an emergency. I just saw on the camera that a person have been struck by a lightning or have been shot, and it seems to me unconscious. We have to act. And what should we do? So now it's going to be the claim. So Christian, please.
Yes, I'll take over for the claim. So now that you name the situation, you have to organize that. And same idea. I want to see what your claims ideas are, and you can put it in the chat right now, and I will comment as we go. Remember, being explicit, inclusive, small contract, and then distribution of roles. So let's see what you have to say. Going to call 911, okay. Sometimes we see that in the name. Calling for help is sometimes seen in the name too. Who leads the situation? Absolutely, that's essential, and that has to be explicit. All right, asking for resource. All right, okay. So I think that's right. We can get someone on the scene, another guard. Is it safe? Absolutely. Is it safe for us to go? This is something we need to consider. Very important is to be first explicit and saying, I'm going to lead this. I'm going to lead this situation, and I'll need your help too. Is it okay? Have those three first shot. I think it's extremely important, and then taking time to distribute roles. And I will take care of him. So I see here that some people, Klena said, I will take care of him. Many ways to take roles. We can either assign it as a leader, or depending on the, as we saw before, we can have a very proactive team, and they can offer some options for taking roles too. So this is two direction. Do we need more help? All right, I will shout out. Okay, so just as a reminder, first be explicit, then be inclusive, and make a little tiny contract, and then seek for distribution of roles that can be assigned by the leader, or that could just come spontaneously in a proactive team from the others. And here we saw many different things that could go in this direction. So that would be, as a summary, the claim, the désigné in French, or the estableche in Spanish. And now we have to switch to the aim part of the name, claim, aim. And I tossed the button to Francine, I think.
Hi. So now that we've established a leader who's asked for everybody's help, and everybody has agreed to help, and the roles have been designated, what would be the aim at this, the overall aim at this point? So, okay.
So BLS, start the ABC, do not delay any CPR. Excellent. Secure the area. So that's really important, to secure the scene. So that is very clearly stated. So far we have that we want to secure the area, and we want to start our ABCs and start CPR. Assess the person, find out his status, identify the problem and the ABC. So sounds like we have a plan, Francine.
It looks like it. So first, we go secure the area. Second, assess what the person, if the person is in cardiac arrest or not, and then start ABC. How about someone calling the emergency services as well?
So that's a great idea. Does anybody have any other ideas? Identify the resource for immediate transport. That's great. Call it ambulance.
So that's that person's new role.
So I guess Francine, and others, to have an aim in mind. It could be a general aim. It could also be broken up in certain steps, just as everybody's done right here. To secure the scene, to assess the patient, to start the ABCs, and to call for help. So that could be broken down in many steps, and then to be inviting and to ask if anybody has any other ideas among the team members is going to create a very safe environment, une bonne ambiance de travail d'équipe. So those are things that are really important in the aim part. And if anything should change, let's say the patient, I don't know, starts to breathe, or I don't know, there's another lightning that strikes one of our team members, then we're going to have two victims, and then we'll have to reclaim and re-aim the whole situation. So that's where Rebecca and Roxanne demonstrated those double arrows that go from re-aim and reclaim.
So I think we're supposed to pass the baton. I forget to
me.
To you. So
Yeah.
I pass the baton to Roxanne.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Ariel and Francine, for taking us through the aim, and to Christian for walking us through claim, and Clement for starting us off with name. We have been working with this paradigm for a few years, and we really welcome your feedback. We've learned more and more about it. Oftentimes we find that the claiming often goes hand in hand with the aiming, and that just sort of seems like a natural thing to happen. But we try to teach it in a more distinct fashion so that people can really understand the essence of the name, the claim, and the aim, and be very explicit. I think Fernando's pulling up the slide now. In our teachings, when we do this, when we used to do it in person, and now when we do have our Zoom CRM sessions, we really strongly believe in the deliberate practice approach. This helps the team to create a choreography and a script, and really develop that muscle memory. Next. And so, yeah, we want to conclude and give you an opportunity to ask some questions. So some of our final remarks as a team is click, and you can click them all. Yeah, the teamwork we find during crisis is a challenge. There's such a high cognitive load, and it's hard to remember all of the principles that you have to put into play. But if we could come up and get this muscle memory and implement name, claim, aim, that gets us so far along down the pathway to working effectively and communicating with each other. And oftentimes in that deliberate practice approach, there's an ability to be able to have coaching and feedback and improving and refining the art of the name, claim, aim. So we have a few minutes for questions or feedback, and we really would welcome that. Feel free to unmute and talk, or feel free to put something in the chat in any of the 3 languages. And I welcome my colleagues, Nacho, Francine, Ariel, Clement, Christian, Fernando, to provide any last comments that you would like to put.
Thank you, Rox. So I have a thought about training and using this framework, and along the lines of Ariel, of rename, re-aim. So this is a continuous process, and the framework has not an end. So the way of reevaluating, renaming, it's very powerful, because it's always in a crisis, a change, and naming the change, and based on the change, create a new plan, it's very powerful for the team. So these small arrows of rename, re-aim is very powerful as a process.
I also would like to add something. So we talk about re-aiming and reclaiming. don't forget, you could also, I mean, reclaiming. In other words, let's say, so last night I had a very difficult situation where a little girl went under a tractor, major head trauma. And at a certain point, I passed the baton over to the pediatric intensive care physician for ongoing care when it became a little bit out of my comfort zone in terms of the increased intracranial pressure, so that that person I had to name that, I had to transfer leadership, and my colleague reclaimed the situation, so that it's a continuous process, and not only of re-aiming if anything changes dynamically, but also of reclaiming not only your leadership if it should change, but also redistributing the roles, so that I was his assistant, so we switched roles, and that was very the whole team. And this tool has been very beneficial for me in real life and everyday situations.
And
Go ahead,
and if I can add, for me, it forces people to say it aloud. For me, the name part is quite important, because it helps to keep everybody on the same page by forcing us to name the situation aloud. And I think that part is also very powerful, as well as the claim. You mentioned like changing leadership, but it also gives the power to residents or other staff that are not physicians to take the lead.
And Roxanne,
Yes.
on the practical aspect for teaching and training, we can use, and we often use the pause in simulation, and during the simulation, use it to restart or give a new start to the team that can be struggling a little with the situation. And what I often appreciate is that from confused situation, it's make them really clear in the direction, and they see better the situation, and they really enjoy it. And you, in certain aspect, you save a scenario, because with one simulation, you make double effect. They get the test of it's hard to do it, and they get the test that when we organize, when we name the situation, when we claim it, and when we give him to her team and we redo it, we are really able to handle the situation, and we can do it.
That's fantastic, Clement.
Roxanne?
Christian?
And
Yes.
also a small detail about the name. I think it's extremely important to attract attention when there is a problem. It happens to me. I had a real difficult problem with the patient, and across the drapes, the surgeon was keeping operating and asking for a rocuronium, and the patient was actually doing really bad. So just saying, oh, we have a problem is so important to attract attention and make sure that we all are going to face something and that we'll need to share that situation.
Yes, excellent. So I'm looking at the time, it's 9:27. I think our session was supposed to end a minute or two ago. So I just want to finally say thank you to everyone for being so engaged and involved and interacting with us, either verbally or in the chat room, and participating in this workshop. And please don't hesitate to reach out to any of us if you're interested in having one of these cognitive aids in English, Spanish, or French. And if you have a different language that you want us to try to translate it into, we'll help work with you on that. Thank you.